Hey, today I'm going to talk about Edward Said Orientalism, Imaginative Geography, and its representation. But first, I'm going to start with introducing Edward Said. So, who's Edward Said? Edward Said was a Palestinian American literary scholar and cultural critic. He was a professor at Columbia University. So, in 1978, he published Orientalism, a groundbreaking book in post colonial studies. The book examines how Western societies have historically represented Eastern cultures. For example, European scholars and writers often describe the Middle East and Asia without truly understanding the people living there, creating generalized images instead. So, what is Orientalism? Definition: Orientalism is a way of thinking in which the West Occident views and represents the East Orient as fundamentally different and often inferior. According to Said, the Orient was portrayed as exotic and mysterious, irrational and emotional, backward and uncivilized, passive and dependent. Meanwhile, the East was portrayed as rational, modern, civilized, superior. For example, so many in 19th century European paintings depicted Arab societies as exotic places filled with desert, harms, mystery, reinforces stereotypes rather than reality. Imaginative geography. Imaginative geography refers to the process of dividing the world into us and them. Said argues that the East and West are not naturally opposite categories. The distinctions are socially and culturally constructed. People created mental maps that define some groups as different or others. So, for example, people may assume that all Middle Eastern countries share the same culture, traditions, and beliefs despite the great diversity. How were these ideas created? Western views of the Orient were shaped through literature, travel writing, academic research, art and paintings, government reports, media coverage. So, for example, in literature, in some colonial novels, Eastern characters were portrayed as irrational or incapable of self government. And in a travel writing, European travelers often described Eastern societies as strong or exotic to appeal to Western readers. Now, the knowledge and power of Edward Said's Orientalism. Said was influenced by philosopher by Mikhail Foucault, who argued that knowledge and power are connected. Key ideas. So here we have key ideas. Those who produce knowledge influence how others are perceived. Representations are never completely natural. Orientalist knowledge helped justify colonial rule. For example, European powers claimed that colonized societies needed Western guidance because they were portrayed as incapable governing themselves. This narrative helps justify colonization. So now modern examples of Orientalism. Said argued that Orientalist thinking continues today. We have media representations. New reports sometimes portray the Middle East mainly through conflict and violence, ignoring cultural achievements and diversity. We have movies. Some films depict Arab characters as terrorists or violence reinforces stereotypes. We have also tourism advertisement. Certain advertisements present Eastern countries as mysterious and exotic destination rather than complex modern societies. Why is Orientalism important today? Studying Orientalism helps us recognize stereotypes, think critically about media representation, understand how power influences knowledge, promote intercultural understanding and respect. For example, when reading news articles or watching films, we can ask who created this representation? Is this portrayal accurate and balanced? Are certain voices missing? We hear these questions after watching the movies that draw a drunk photo for the characters or for the West or the Est characters. Now let's move to criticism of Said's theories. So there are some characters criticized the theory of sets. Although influential Said's works has received criticism, some scholars argue that he generalized Western scholarship too broadly. Some Oriental studies contributed valuable knowledge. Eastern societies also create stereotypes about the West. Despite these criticism, Orientalism remains highly influential. So, conclusion Orientalism is a system of representation that shaped how the West viewed the East. Imaginative geography creates division between us and them. These representations are linked to power and historical colonialism. Edward said encourage us to critically examine cultural stereotypes and promote mutual understanding. So, the Orient was almost a European invention. Thank you.